We begin today's discussion up in Massachusetts, where we're pleased to be joined by Setti Warren, the mayor of Newton, Massachusetts, and a brand new candidate for 2012 running against Scott Brown in Mass. And I want to start right there, Mr. Mayor, because there's been a lot of talk, even from some folks in your own district, like Barney Frank, saying, we're just not sure that Setti Warren is ready for this, that he's ready to take this leap. What's your answer to them, someone who's only been a mayor for about a year? What makes you ready for the United States Senate right now?
Well, it's great to be with you both, and it's great to be in the race. We have enormous challenges in front of us, and we're at a crossroads. I've had the opportunity to be a mayor in a difficult time, balanced two budgets, cut $8 million, and delivered critical services. I'm an Iraq War veteran, intelligence specialist who was deployed to Iraq for a year-long experience there. I have an understanding of strengthening of how we need to strengthen our defense in this country and the importance of intelligence. And I've also worked at the federal level. I've worked for Senator Kerry, his small business point person. I understand how to create jobs here in the state of Massachusetts. We really need to have someone who understands the values and sentiment of the state and who will provide the leadership needed and the skill set. I think those skill sets represent what we need right now in that seat.
I want to bring you also to the bigger picture. We haven't even talked about the primary yet. I'm going to get you all the way to the general election first and say, you know, you look at somebody like Scott Brown. He's got over $8 million in the bank right now. He's very popular according to the latest polls. How do you beat this guy?
Well, I'm very confident we'll be able to raise the resources over the course of the next several months. I'm reaching out to voters currently right now to win. And I think ultimately, besides the money, and money's not really important, it's really about the issues that count. Job creation, ensuring that, for example, we bring the cost of health care down in this country. We protect and defend the bill that's in place, not repeal it. And that we're making investments in things like education and in the future. Places like Head Start and Pell Grants. You know, Scott Brown committed to being an independent voice in this state. And he hasn't. He's voted 87% of the time with his national Republican leaders. He's voted to gut programs that matter, job creation, job training. Those aren't the values that are represented here in Massachusetts. He even questions the science behind global warming. That's not the kind of leadership we need in this seat right now. And I think people in this state understand it, and I don't think that they're going to support it in 2012.
Mr. Mayor, the NRSC, the Republican Senatorial Committee, has been very critical of a couple statements you made on taxes recently, specifically around that deal to extend the Bush tax cuts at the end of last year. You were critical recently of Senator Brown's vote on that. Would you have supported that? Bottom line, would you have supported that knowing that that was the deal that President Obama cut and that a lot of Democrats voted for? Would you have voted no?
Well, again, you know, Scott Brown's approach was to hold middle-class tax cuts hostage in order to give the wealthiest Americans tax cuts. He made that decision in December. The president made the best deal possible at that point, but he continues to support a position as late as April that gives the top 2% of people in this country tax cuts and not invest in reducing the deficit, job training, and job creation. The president's made it clear moving forward that we can't afford to extend those tax cuts, and Scott Brown continues to take that position.
But you would have voted for it last fall, though. At the end of last year, you would have voted for it because it was the best deal possible.
Again, you know, the president made the best deal possible. We're at a time now where the president's made it clear that we have to move forward, not extend the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, invest in job creation and competitiveness. Scott Brown, as I said, been on the record as late as April saying he would continue to support those tax cuts. It makes no sense with unemployment close to 9%, corporate profits rising as they do. Americans are still hurting. The economy has to work for everyone, which is why, and I'd love everyone to check out my plan on job creation on settiwarren.com, renewable energy, biotech, strengths of Massachusetts we need to make investments in, ensure that we're creating jobs, ensure that this country has the kind of infrastructure that supports job creation, high-speed rail, broadband, for example, in western Massachusetts. These are the areas that we need to concentrate on,
right.
Not giving tax cut for the wealthiest Americans and continuing to grow our deficit.
I want to go back to something you brought up earlier, the fact that you served in Iraq. I want to talk a little bit, though, about your feelings on Afghanistan. in the wake of the Osama bin Laden situation. What do you think we should be doing there? What should the U.S. policy be in Afghanistan? And we're hearing a lot from Democrats. They say it is time to just completely get out of there. Do you agree with this, that it is time now for the United States to pull out completely from Afghanistan?
Well, first, as you mentioned, I am an Iraq War veteran. I am pleased that we found and killed Osama bin Laden. We have to make sure that that region is safe. And we have to make sure we begin to bring our troops home. I've been talking about this over the last 4 days. Reducing our military footprint in that part of the world is important. The President's talked about moving on that in July. We have to make sure the government of Afghanistan is able to provide the appropriate security for that region. We certainly don't want that to become a haven for al-Qaeda. We have a threat in over 60 countries in the world. We've got to go beyond that region and work with our allies, those that are friendly to us across the world, strengthen intelligence, particularly intelligence sharing within our own agencies. We saw the results of that recently. I understand that as well.
And Mr. Mayor, before we let you go, will you shake hands in the cold outside Fenway Park if you're indeed the nominee?
I love the Red Sox. They're doing pretty well. I was just at a game a few weeks ago. We've got to get far, and I'm going to be out there across the state. I have in every part of the state, Worcester, Western Mass included. We've been to cities and towns. That's the kind of campaign I'm going to run, and that's the kind of campaign that it'll take to win.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Setti Warren, Democratic candidate for the Senate in Massachusetts, thank you and good luck with your campaign. Appreciate you being on.